Hello everybody, my name is Waffle Toast, and welcome to a review that I have been putting off for several weeks, like always. This is my review for the Jazzwares Halo Spartan Collection Red Team vs. Blue Team 2-pack. And I gotta be honest, I was so excited when this was announced that it was an instant day one buy for me. I didn't pre-order it, because I'm not a huge fan of pre-ordering toys, but as soon as it was available for order on the GameStop website, I bought it like that. And I could not be more happy. This is probably the best Spartan Collection release Jazzwares has done. And this is coming from someone that bought the Noble Team 6-pack. That has a couple flaws. These are pretty much perfect. There are a few QC issues here, but it's not with the figures themselves, it's with the accessories, but I'll get into that later. Without further ado, let's get started with the accessories. I'm just going to start by going over the alternate hands, because you get quite a few of them. For the Red Team Spartan, you get a pair of gripping hands, a pair of fists, a pair of discipline trigger / pointing finger hands, and with each of the Spartans, you get an odd man out hand, and in this case for the Red Spartan, you get a sword wielding hand. For the Blue Spartan, you get a pair of gripping hands, a pair of open hands, a pair of normal trigger finger hands, and for the odd man out, you get a two-finger pointing hand, I think. I'm not exactly sure what this is, I'm just going to call it that. Swapping the hands is pretty much the same as every other action figure out there. You just pop off the one that's on, you put on the one you want, and there you go. And you can mix and match them however you want. But now let's get into the actual cool accessories. Starting off the weapons, we have the Magnum, which funnily enough isn't the Halo 3 Magnum. Even though these guys are from Halo 3, this is actually the Halo Reach Magnum, because Spartan Collection only ever made the Halo Reach Magnum. So they just repainted it for this. But it works. You can put it into either the normal gripping hands or the trigger finger hands, and it'll look a little something like this. But one of the cool things about Spartan Collection is the ability to have the weapons holstered. You just pop out the piece on the thigh, flip it around, it reveals a peg, and you probably notice there's a hole on the Magnum right here. You just put that on, and now the Magnum is in the position it was if it was a secondary. Which I think that's really cool. That's one of my favorite aspects about Spartan Collection. Next up we have the Battle Rifle, one of my favorite weapons in all of Halo. And funnily enough, again, this is actually the Halo Infinite Battle Rifle, not the Halo 3 Battle Rifle. Is this Jazzwares just being lazy and reusing their molds? Yes. Does it bug me that much? Not really. And again, much like the Magnum, it can either be put into the gripping hands or the trigger finger hands. And again, like the Magnum, it can also be stored on the figure. You just take out this back part, flip it around, it reveals a peg. There is a peg on the battle rifle. You just plug it onto the back of the figure. And now you have both a holstered battle rifle and a Magnum. This just looks so cool. Again, my favorite part of the Spartan Collection. Yes, you can do this with the World of Halo, but you don't have the sidearm storage. And that just levels it up for me. It's just so neat. Next up is the Brute Shot, probably my second favorite weapon in all of Halo. And here's where the QC comes in. Mine was warped out of the package. I have tried to fix it, although it just keeps bending back. So I don't know if I need to apply more heat, but that's just an issue on my copy. This turned out really well. And I do believe this only ever came with the Spartan Collection Rogue figure, which I believe was kind of hard to find, so I'm glad it's re-released in this pack. Now, getting the figures to actually hold the Brute Shot is a bit finicky, just due to the way the articulation is. You can't get it exactly like it is in the game. This is the closest you can get, and even then, it's not hold on by anything in the back, so if you shake it around, oh wow, it actually wants to stay now. But if you shake it around a lot, usually it'll fall down like that. But it is manageable. Now, you can't store the Brute Shot on the back as there is no hole. But why would you want to do that? It's the Brute Shot. It looks the coolest when a Spartan is holding it. And of course, saving the best for last, we have the Energy Sword. The best weapon in any game, except for the shotgun. But this just looks so cool. The plastic they use, the translucent plastic combined with the purple and white paint to give it that glowing energy effect, and the silver on the handle. This is honestly one of the best weapons. Well, best painted weapons in the entirety of the Spartan Collection. It turned out so well. Now, the red Spartan is the only one that has a dedicated sword-wielding hand, and you just plug the sword in like that. And, I mean, come on. How cool is that? If you want the blue Spartan to hold it, you can use the trigger finger hands. I believe the GameStop listing shows the blue Spartan holding it like that. But if you want the blue Spartan to hold it properly, you'd either need to use this hand and have it mismatch on the wrist armor, or you could buy another set and paint it blue so you have a way for the blue Spartan to hold the sword. But I am perfectly fine with the red Spartan being the one who holds the sword. It's just so cool looking. But moving on from accessories, let's get into the articulation. And these are probably some of the most articulated Spartan figures we have ever gotten. Now, this joint is actually weird because it's the standard hinge joint. But the way the neck connects to the head is actually a ball joint, so you do get a slight side-to-side. Head cannot do a 360 just due to the armor, but he can look up that far, down that far. Shoulders can go out that far. They can do a 360. There is a bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows, although the second joint does get cut off by the armor. So you only get about that much of an elbow bend, slightly above 90 degrees. Wrists are on a swivel and a hinge. They can go out that far and in that far. There is a ball-jointed waist, although you get back that far, you don't get forward, and you do get side to side. You can't really get a swivel, you just get a slight twist. Legs are on a ball joint. They can go forward that far, back that far. There is a thigh swivel. Can do the splits that far. I don't want to chip or warp any of the plastic, so I'm not going to try to bend them further. Double jointed knees, which go about that far. Ankles can move forward that far, back that far. There is a ankle tilt, and even a toe bend. Jazzwares, I love you. You have made probably some of the best Halo merch we have ever gotten. Sorry, McFarlane. I love your figures, but Jazzwares kind of blew you out of the water. Now, I do want to take a quick minute to go over just some interesting facts about these figures. So I mentioned the Spartan Rogue earlier. This figure is not actually just a repaint of Master Chief. This is actually a kit bash between the Rogue and the new Halo 3 Chief that they put out in that Vault exclusive 2-pack. So I believe the waist, the chest, and the arms are from the Spartan Rogue. But the head and the legs are from the new Master Chief. And the reason the legs aren't from Rogue is because, if you know, Spartan Collection had a bit of a rough patch where they had just the most abysmal knee joints ever. They were so ugly. But they fixed that with some of the new figures, and that's the new knee joint here. And it's just so good. These are just so good. Oh, I completely forgot to point this out. They put emblems on the shoulders, and if you've ever played multiplayer, you know that your custom emblem would show on the shoulder of your Spartans. It's a cool little detail, but if I'm being honest, I might try to rub them off just because if you've ever seen the show Red vs. Blue, which is a Halo web series, if you have not seen it, go watch it immediately. It's probably one of the best pieces of Halo media ever. I actually bought this to be a stand-in for Sarge on my shelf, and this was going to be a sort of caboose. I was going to make a new helmet to be the Mark V helmet. And they didn't have emblems in the show, so I might just go with an eraser and try to rub them off. And while I'm on the topic of details, these have such a nice black wash throughout the entire figure, and it is just so stunning. These are honestly the best Spartan Collection figures they have ever put out. Well, I guess that's enough glazing. Let's move on to the size. For a figure comparison, here is the Bandai Movie Monster Series Kiryu, and the World of Halo Master Chief, which is the 1/18th scale line next to the 1/12th scale line. You can see how those compare. And for a Spartan Collection comparison, here is the Mark VI Spartan next to the Noble 6 figure from the 6-pack that was also exclusive to GameStop. And something that I like they did is they actually put in a height difference, because if you didn't know, Noble 6 is a Spartan 3, whereas the Master Chief is a Spartan 2. And I'm just glad that there is a height difference between the two. Now for the actual size of the figure, these guys come in at just over 7 inches tall. And seeing as normal price for a Spartan collection was, what was it, $20? The pack is $50, you're getting 2 Spartans, plus a bunch of accessories. I'd say that's more than worth it. That's something I've always liked about Jazzwares, is that they are pretty affordable, especially in today's toy market. So with that being said, that has been my review for the Jazzwares Halo Spartan Collection Red Team vs. Blue Team 2-pack. If you haven't picked one of these up for yourself, I highly recommend that you do so if you're a fan of Halo or just want fun figures to mess around with. But hey, it's all just my opinion. So until I upload again, whenever that may be, goodbye.